Up on Look Today, a building recently damaged by fire in Saratoga Springs will be demolished on Friday. I've got details. And proceeds of an art project in Queensbury benefits the Tri-County United Way. More on that coming up. And registration for the first night 5K run is now open. I've got those details. It's all ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone. I'm Jay Hood Jackson and this is Look Today. In tonight's program, I sit down with Bob Turner. He's the chair of the Saratoga Springs City Charter Review Commission. He's here to give us updates on the current review process and results of a civic leadership survey. This is part 2 of my interview with him. I also sit down with Teddy Foster. She's a campaign director for Universal Preservation Hall, and guess what? We're joined by Sonny Bonaccio. He's the president and CEO of Bonaccio Construction, and they're here to talk about the success of last night's event at the hall. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties, but first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, the 26 Caroline Street building that was recently damaged by that fire is scheduled to be demolished on Friday. Demolition teams will be preparing the site tomorrow. Now, recently, a fire that started in the back of the Mia Posta restaurant damaged all of the neighboring buildings. Now, Sperry's and Hamlet and Ghost, 2 of those surrounding buildings, were forced to close, but they are not being demolished. They are going to reopen. And we were at the Saratoga City Council meeting last night where the city attorney, Vince DeLeonardis, spoke.
Prior to yesterday's pre-agenda meeting, we had in our possession 2 reports from Ernie Gaylor, a professional engineer who had been in the structure on multiple occasions and ultimately made a determination that it was his recommendation that the building be demolished.
Now, as you can imagine, the decision to demolish a historic building came after a lengthy debate. Now, because the opposing views of 2 parties, the city consulted an independent building engineer. And Mayor Joanne Yepsen spoke about this at the meeting.
Because we are very much in favor of historic preservation in the city. It's an extremely important aspect to what makes us unique. And we're going to do everything we can to save the buildings that are damaged in any way, providing there's no safety hazard.
And a reminder, you can see the full Saratoga City Council meeting here on Look TV, unedited and uninterrupted. Check your local listings. All right, in other news, here's an update on a story we started telling you about yesterday. Students from the William H. Barton Intermediate School, Queensbury, created chair sculptures, and they're up for auction online, and all the proceeds will benefit the Tri-County United Way. Well, we spoke to Dwayne Vaughn. He's the executive director of the Tri-County United Way.
Pretty surprised. We thought it was just an awesome idea for the William H. Barton Intermediate School to get involved in this, and the kids there. Jennifer Farley, the art teacher, just is doing what a thinking outside of the box job of getting youth involved and helping other youth. And so it's truly amazing.
It is amazing. Hats off to everyone involved in that project. All right, switching from news to weather. This morning saw some snow, then the skies cleared up a little, then of course it clouded up. So let's see how the rest of the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, we're going to head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast. Back to the news. Well, the new year is approaching. Yes, the new year is approaching, which means that Saratoga Arts is gearing up for First Night. Now, this is one of the country's oldest New Year's celebrations. And a traditional 5K race will kick the night off at 5:30. And registration is now open. And those who participate, by the way, will get a discounted ticket to all the other events that night. Well, we spoke to Alex Jones. She's a First Night Director, Saratoga Arts.
You can register for the First Night 5K online. We usually sell out at about 1,500 runners, so register early. You can't do it on the day of.
Now, we're going to have Alex on for an interview, by the way, so we can tell you a lot more about First Night. All right, we also spoke to her about the bus shuttle service that will accommodate runners this year.
I do think it's going to be sold out this year just because of precedent. It has been in years past. CDTA is also doing a bus stop at Skidmore, which they haven't done in years past, so I think that's going to be very popular with the runners who can run the race, get a shower, hop right on the bus, and come downtown.
It's an amazing event to coordinate. All right, up next, I sit down with Bob Turner. He's the chair of the Saratoga Springs City Charter Review Commission. He's here to give us updates on the current review process and results of a civic leadership survey. This is part 2 of my interview with Bob. Plus, I also sit down with Teddy Foster. She's a campaign director for Universal Preservation Hall in Saratoga. And we're joined by Sonny Bonaccio. He's the president and CEO of Bonaccio Construction. They're here to talk about the success of last night's event at the hall. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? Give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. I got a couple of lookouts for tonight. First and foremost, you know, media is a fun business, can be a fun business, and the last couple of days we've just had the best interviews. I also interviewed, besides doing Teddy and Sonny today, and we couldn't stop smiling during that interview. You had to have been at that event last night to just see how exciting it was for the whole community to come out and support Universal Preservation Hall. But today I also had the honor of interviewing Elizabeth Sobel, who is the new CEO of SPAC. And we're going to run that interview tomorrow. And it's wonderful to get to know her as well and have her share part of her beginning process of her vision for the Saratoga Performing Arts Center. And one other thing, I don't want to let today go by without noting that it is the anniversary of Pearl Harbor, December 7th, a day that will live in infamy. We tried very hard to find a World War II veteran to interview today, to pay respect. And honestly, they're a real treasure. They're about 90 years old now, and they're around. We found a person, Stephen Dennis. Now, he couldn't get here in time today to be interviewed, but he'll be here tomorrow. So I hope you look forward to that as much as we are. Tonight on Look TV, it's a Saratoga City Council meeting in its entirety. And don't forget, you can tune in tomorrow night for the stories that matter to you. Good night, everyone.